It is now football time. All right, we have got football on the brain. We've got football conversations to be had, and we're going to have all those football conversations here from the TireRack.com studios. And one of those conversations is the debut of Caleb Williams, seen and featured a lot on Hard Knocks, discussed all through the offseason. He made his debut against the Bills on Saturday in a preseason game. I don't know what you guys thought of the debut, and there's some other debuts we're going to get to, but Caleb Williams seemed to showcase the skill set that many people have been talking about over the past couple of years and why he was the consensus number one pick, even going back to last year.
I actually think he will, like the NFL offenses are better suited for Caleb Williams to showcase his skill. And it might sound a little bit odd in saying that only because he won a Heisman in college, but like hear me out for a second. Caleb Williams throwing on the run is absolutely incredible. Like he's probably one of the best quarterbacks like entering into the NFL throwing on the run as far as accuracy, the ability to shape throws, the ability to throw across his body, do things that most can't. And literally stepping in the NFL is one of the best I've ever seen, ever. And one of the things that if you go back to his time at Southern Cal, there's not a lot of offense like you're going to see in the NFL in the sense of you can put him under center, you can run more boots, you can run more sprint outs, you can run more move the pockets. He was oftentimes just kind of sitting in shotgun. And if things broke down, then you saw his ability to throw on the run and create because of his athleticism, ability to buy time. But in the NFL, every single week, it's all about matchups. And so your offense has all these different wrinkles and tools and things in there to where they change. And the other thing is there's, obviously you throw the football more than you do running the football, but it's much closer to a 50-50 split than in college football in some cases. And for him, I think that's going to allow him to play from under center a little bit more. It's going to allow him to actually, be in a normal drop back passing game, showcase all these different things that he's capable of doing, but not have to do it in the manner that he did it at Southern Cal, where it felt like it was off script or scrambling or buying time or having to make a play. Like it'll be more by design. And I think that's one of the things that should help him, I think, become an absolute star at the next level. But he's been phenomenal so far, kind of as you would expect with all the hype around him and everything that he showcased during his time in college.
I'll say this. He definitely showed that he can play at this level, which is first and foremost the initial thing you want to see is that he can handle being out there. I will say with the caveat that the one time that it would be doable to have success would be in the preseason. I mean, let's just be clear. You're going to have defenses that are not really going to show schematically what they're planning on doing to be able to try to limit a guy that you have to game plan against. So I don't take too much from it other than the fact that he looked like he was comfortable. He looked like he had command and control over what he was doing as the field general for the offense. And that should be a positive that you take away from it. I think that the conversation has changed so dramatically in how you speak on preseason just because of who's playing. And then you take in the other elements. Like I said, a defensive coordinator is not scheming for the Chicago Bears offense in the preseason. You're seeing what guys are capable of doing and seeing who's going to fill the roles that are available to them on their roster. So, but I do think that it's a good start. I don't look at it as there was anything that would make me feel as though it would give you pause on thinking that Caleb Williams can live up to the expectation of what people are thinking he's going to be. I will also say, and to that I guess in that vein, I still kind of look at it from the standpoint of, can he have the type of year, because he's going to be judged off of, again, you're going to put the best of the best out there because they think he's the best. So you're going to compare him to guys to Patrick Mahomes. You're going to compare him to what C.J. Stroud did this past season. Can he block out that noise? Can he actually outplay what a C.J. Stroud did last season? I think there are going to be a few questions that are big questions for him and his level of accomplishment and achievement. Maybe fair or unfair, but I do think he's going to be judged and held to a different, standard or a different expectation than probably any other quarterback that's been taken in this year's draft and maybe in other drafts as well.
He was asked afterwards, Caleb Williams, whether or not his performance was reassuring coming back and playing in his first preseason game.
There is an understanding that it is preseason, that everybody's not going to show their looks and what they would do versus, and vice versa. But it definitely is. It definitely feels good to get out there. The last time I was out there on the field, other than practice, was November 18th, and it's. You go that long without something, it's tough. But it's been great. The guys have made it fun. They made it easy on me. So to get out there and have the confidence, that we had out there, it's only going to get better, and we can't wait.
It's kind of wild to think November 18th was the last time he played. It's a long-ass time ago. And then he gets thrown into an NFL game, preseason or not, and to perform the way that he did. There was also
but isn't every rookie quarterback pretty much thrown into that? I mean, I'm just saying they were going to end either November, December, or maybe beginning of January, but it's always going to be a long wait like that.
There was a moment there where, and maybe I'm just looking too far into this, but where he rolled out, and as he was rolling out, for one of his first drop, it might have been his first drop back as a quarterback in the NFL. And he notices that there's some illegal contact or a hold that was happening in front of him on the offensive line. And he turns as he's on the run and looks to the official behind him to call for a hold. And I thought to myself, he's none of this is too big for him. It seems like everything is at the right speed, at the right pace. He doesn't seem like he's overwhelmed or any of it is confusing or anything like that. And you just saw some of his, the decisions, the throws, little things like that, which is why just being in Chicago last week, they are all in on Caleb Williams. It's everywhere.
They should be.
They should be. He's a franchise changing type talent. I mean, that's truthfully what he is. And to your point about that, the things I've always appreciated about him is I've only seen a few instances, and it really was last year when he played, at SC, where he pressed. Usually he does a great job of letting the game come to him. And I think his ability to improvise, his ability to get outside the pocket and throw on the run probably gives him that confidence because he always knows he has that in his back pocket. If anything does happen off script, he can execute as good as anyone. And so that's probably why that's the case. But to your point, I mean, he's so far checked that box of being able to handle the preseason speed. Then I'll come down to the regular season, which is another level up, like LaVar touched on. And we'll see how he adjusts. Not necessarily throughout the course of the season, but in game. Because every single series, defenses are doing something different to shut you down. And defenses are making adjustments. That's the biggest thing that he's going to have to overcome is how teams go about trying to keep him in the pocket and trying to make him play from the pocket and then putting pressure on him in a variety of ways once he's played enough and they feel like he's got some tendencies.
It felt like a majority of the first-round quarterbacks performed pretty well. And I don't know if that's Jaden Daniels, even if it was brief, not bad. J.J. McCarthy looked okay. Bo Nix looked great for Denver.
I'll say this, going back to Caleb Williams, the one thing that did really stand out for me in the few reps that he took is that he's not scared. He's not nervous. He's not going to get, at least for now, it didn't seem as though he could get rattled into, as Q mentioned, kind of pushing or forcing to try to make plays. I mean, you look at that screenplay that they ran, it took real bravery. It took courage to execute that. People will say, oh, look at the throw, the way he flicked it, and got it out. I say, look at how long he held it. Look at how much time he gave the running back and the offensive line and everybody to get in position and still not take a sack and be able to deliver the ball the way that he did. Those are the things to me that scare you as a defender. When somebody can take that lack of fear and can actually execute at a high level on the go like that as a quarterback, that's what's going to keep defensive coordinators up at night. Like, what are we going to do? The kid can run. I mean, he might have – I don't think it's a stretch to say he's probably a better runner than Patrick Mahomes. He has the same type of way of going about throwing the ball and delivering the ball and reading the field like a Patrick Mahomes does. I think he has more athletic ability than he does as well. Oof. So if he does take off and run, we've seen Patrick Mahomes dismantle defenses and make it harder to defend them because he creates that man-on-man, that matchup. You got to have somebody who can keep up with Patrick Mahomes. You're not just going to get him with a defensive lineman. So I think it's a scary proposition to see that Caleb Williams is so comfortable so quickly and so early in this early stage of his career, because to have that confidence and that ability to stand in there and know what it is that you're getting yourself into, it can make him super dangerous moving forward, man.
What about that frozen rope to Cole Kmet on the run? What do you think about that?
I mean, he showed that he's special. That's for certain. And it does look like it translates into the pro game. And that's what you want to see in the preseason. Because there's been some trash quarterbacks that have had great preseasons. I mean, I was on a team that won 5 games. We went 4-0, 4-0 in the preseason and didn't win we won 3 games in the regular season.
Yeah, but that counts as 8 total.
Yeah, all right. I'm just saying, I've seen it where teams can have great success, offenses, defenses, players. You're like, oh, yeah, this guy's the guy.
Who is the quarterback you're talking about?
I want to say Danny. It's not so much about the quarterback. It's about just the given circumstances of what the preseason represents.
Danny Warfel?
Yeah, it was. I do believe it was Danny Warfel that was the quarterback.
Why'd Danny Warfel catch a stray?
He didn't catch a stray. He played very well. We thought we was going to do something with the former Heisman Trophy winner and Florida great. Before there was Tim Tebow, there was Danny Warfel,
right.
I'm just saying, we thought we had it together. Had a whole lot of work to do,
There is this kind of behind the scenes thing for backup quarterbacks where you try to, rack up yards in the preseason. Because the starters, so if you're in a position where you are the backup, you do keep tabs on who's leading in passing yards in preseason, et cetera. You're always kind of keeping tabs on all that.
Really?
Oh yeah, because it's the last playing time you get until something happens during the season. So if you go into a season a preseason like that, people definitely keep tabs on some of that. I'll say this much: I remember, I think Luke McCown and I want to say Josh too when he was a backup. The McCowns would always dime it up during preseason and have a ton of yards. I think Luke in particular, I remember a couple preseasons where he would have a crap ton of yards every single time, and we're like, dang, we got to catch Luke, man. I'm pretty sure it was one of the 2 McCowns.
By the way, how about Trey Lance having 41 pass attempts yesterday? Preseason game.
He did get some reps, man. He's getting
some reps. He ain't got many.
While, man.
41 throws.
He ain't got many.
Damn.
How about y'all boy Michael Penix?
What are you
But it's the preseason, though. It's the preseason.
Hey, by the way, do you think Penix is going to start a game this year?
That's what I'm saying. It's the preseason.
I think he is.
But
I think Kirk Cousins
the bigger
is
question
fed up.
Is he going to win the job outright and start a game, or is it going to be due to some type of an injury that sets Kirk Cousins back and sets him up to lose his job? Either way, it's pretty stressful. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I know I'm getting the money, but that's a tad bit stressful for my playing time.
I mean, Kirk Cousins said it recently that he would have, or the report was that, yeah, if I would have known this would have been the plan, I would have entertained the idea of going back to Minnesota on a 1-year deal. Because at least Minnesota was up front with him about what their plan was. And Atlanta was like, no, we're just going to go ahead and take Michael Penix, number 8. So that is the quick check on all of the any other quarterback play jump out to you guys other than Stetson Bennett? Sermoning up a few times for the Rams against the Cowboys. J.J. McCarthy looked pretty good. That's the one I wonder about, because there was this report that came out that the Vikings' plan is Sam Darnold will be the starter, J.J. McCarthy, most likely going to ride the bench, but he looked pretty good.
He responded after. What I liked about him is he threw an early interception. And then after that, he really responded with it. So he kind of battled through, if you want to call it adversity or whatever else. I was curious, though, watching that preseason game, only to see between Minshew and O'Connell if someone would have the edge. And Minshew, obviously, in the stat line, had a little bit more than O'Connell, but they both played decently well. So that quarterback battle is going to keep moving forward, I think.